Welcome everyone to Weekend Escapades. This is a view of Las Vegas from the top of the I-15 headed south, and we are headed through the desert, through Nevada, through Arizona, and on down to Seligman, Arizona, which is the birthplace of Route 66. This is the first Route 66 town you'll see when you drop into Arizona on Old Highway 40. Of course, the first thing we had to do is fill up, so we stopped at the general store. There's no shortage of snacks and things to see here that are all Route 66-ish, as you'll see it on the sign and on the front of the building. Love these Route 66 flags that everybody's flying at all the businesses and locations here in town. They have their own souvenir and memorabilia store right next door. That was closed when we were there. We got an early start this day, and you'll see they've got mannequins on almost all the locations. This one has like a painter on a ladder up front. The people are extremely nice. The town is very friendly. Let's take a look at the rest of the things here in Seligman. So first thing when you get into town, you just kind of leapfrog from parking lot to parking lot, business to business, as all of them have the Route 66 insignias on them and have something that has to do with the old highway. So here's an old tow truck, and they also have some old farming equipment and things to see here. You can see this is some old plows and some old pull-behind rakes and things that they have. And then I thought it was kind of funny, but a lot of old vehicles here, and a lot of them are past restoration. But hey, this one on the left, if you want to try and restore this one, be my guest. I think it's a little bit too far gone, and you'd have to remove that cactus, or you're going to have an uncomfortable ride when you're done restoring it. They also have a lot of mining equipment showing. Of course, Arizona had a lot of mining, as well as Nevada and all over the South. So these are some old motors that were lift motors and things, and the old ore cars in the area. So there's no shortage of those things to see, and plenty of old wagons here in Seligman as well. And then over to the left in this parking lot, they've built a Old West facade. So it's got a livery stable. It's got a sign there that says Doc Holliday on it, and it has the old Wells Fargo stagecoach building off to the left. So it looks like an Old West frontage of a town. So they got the gun sign up there, new and used, and they've got an old jail wagon that looks like it towed around some old criminals like they used to do in the Old West. They'd pull this around and pick them up from the local jail. This is the Arizona Territorial Jail. So this is original, and I'll read off the sign is what it says in front. It actually housed some criminals that we're very familiar with here in the territory. So you can see the old wood stove that was in the jail. This is a cabinet there where they, of course, probably kept the shotguns or rifle for the marshals or the sheriff. And the old door and all this and the old cots that are inside. So the story on the outside sign said that we'll go over a couple of prisoners that were in here, but they also said that there were some Native Americans that they had locked up inside this jail that actually dug through the floor, because it wasn't stone, it was dirt back then. They dug through the floor, dug, and escaped out of this jail. So this is an awesome jail. I really like the way it was put together. And there's an old two-person saw hanging up there that people used to use out in the woods as a logger saw. So here's the information on this jail. So 1860, Arizona Territorial Jail at one time held such notorious outlaws like Seligman's Three-Finger Jack, James Younger, and many more. So in 1866 was the story about the Native Americans that dug out and escaped out of this. They tunneled out of this jail. So kind of nice. And also here's the outside of it. You can see how it was, I'm sure they moved it and put it back together, but really well done, very old. And also the old outhouse is actually still there. So they put the old outhouse in the back. It's a two-seater, and they put some saloon-style doors on it. Kind of silly, but not the original doors. But yeah, two-seater outhouse. There you go. So more things to see. Again, as we just kind of leapfrog down the road, Roadkill Cafe, you kill it, we grill it, and also the world's famous OK Saloon, located right here on Main Street. So you just look across the road, you'll find another building with a big mural, and then you'll find an old wagon. Just great stuff to see. So it really got to keep your eyes open and take a look. Look at this old mural that they painted, making reference to the movie Cars, as most of the things are, because this town really helped spark the interest and stimulate some ideas for the movie Cars, as most towns on Old Route 66 did. And here's the other side of that famous Roadkill Cafe. This is the Route 66 Hotel, and this sign is really old. You can see the way it lights up, neon, and then it's got the large lights around it. And a lot of the signs still exist, the old neon signs, which I really think is nice. Vegas used to have, and still does, has a lot of neon signs, but they have the old neon sign museum. I'd love to go there and document that one day as well. So this location here is another souvenir style store. So there's a tremendous amount of those here, but everything out front has to do with driving down the highway. The old police car, the old motorcycles, the old gas pumps, all of these things. It looks like the plane went through the building, and the tail end of the plane's hanging out of the building. And you can see the police cars, and then this tow truck in the background. And around the side of this building, they have an old fire truck. So there's many old fire trucks in this town as well. So so much to see. It's too bad we weren't able to see some of it, because we were there, again, early, before some of the shops opened. About the time we were leaving is when they started opening the doors. And we're kind of on a time crunch because we have so much to share, and Route 66 has so many areas to explore. And we've got many more coming up in the next videos, so stay tuned. As with all old towns and locations, you got to really keep your eyes open, as I was saying, because here's this building, and here's the fire truck that I was talking about earlier, and an old tractor. And just take a look at the giant American flag on the side of the building, because nothing says Americana like an American flag mural on the side of a building on Route 66. And by the way, if you like this content and want to support the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. There's much more to come. Now this is the Copper Cart location on the corner in town, and this is all vintage cars and motorcycles. And they have a tremendous amount out front. I can't even imagine what they had inside. And I love old Volkswagen buses, and there's one in front, and that's a great place for some Weekend Escapade stickers. Classic cars and classic signs is what this town is all about. And again, no shortage here. Take a look at this one. There's something about old gas stations, or service stations as they were called, that I absolutely love. You see the old service station, and that's the day where your gas used to be pumped. They changed the oil, check your tires. Full service stations where they wore white uniforms and little hats. And these are the gas stations where they worked, because back in old Route 66, service stations is what it's all about, because the old cars needed a lot of attention to keep them on the road, even when they were new. Now this station didn't have any of the old gas pumps out front, but here's one right here. It was just around the corner, and there was plenty of these to look at. You'll see more coming up at the end. We love old neon signs and old signage, and here's a bellhop that I thought was amazing. I wish we could have seen this lit up at night. And what is that, a squirrel with a snake in his mouth? September 22nd, 1978 at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, Seligman lost 75% of its revenue. It closed down 2 hotels, 2 restaurants, and 4 filling stations. And that is when Highway 40 bypassed Seligman. But now it seems that all the history and all the events are coming back to Seligman. The town seems like it's doing extremely well, and now it is for tourists to pull off of Highway 40 and experience Route 66 the way it used to be back in the day. So Seligman has a very retro feel back to old Route 66. We absolutely enjoyed it. Here's another place where we're going to put the Weekend Escapade stickers. We had an amazing time. We hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed this location. More of Route 66 to come as we're headed down the highway. And until our next adventure, goodbye from Weekend Escapades.